It's good. And we are back here for the fourth quarter as Nisky breaking off a big run there. Ismail Stewart down inside the 20-yard line.
Looks like Nisky found a hole on the outside, and they drove right through. They gained a lot of yards, and they're within the red zone waiting for a touchdown.
First time Nisky getting inside the red zone tonight. A well-run play there by the offense, getting an opportunity to score.
Number 19 on Nisky made a nice block on number 34, Jake Arnold, preventing him from taking the running back out. And now within about 15 yards of the touchdown.
16-yard line for Nisky. Edmonds with Meissner behind him. Hands it off. And straight to the pile up the middle, gets 3 yards. Down inside the 13.
Another great play by the Gillen defense, as we see trying to put it up the middle, but he is going nowhere. 2nd and 7. It's definitely going to be tough driving it up the middle. Nisky might need to look to go to the outside.
Nisky hasn't thrown the ball a lot tonight, and in those opportunities haven't had a lot of success sticking to the running game here. So Nisky opportunity down inside the 15, looking to erase that 0 on the scoreboard as Edmonds hands it off to Meissner. Meissner running left, gets hit hard. Ebbed in. Braden Steen in on the tackle.
It was a very nice play by Steen and Din. As they saw it, he was coming to the left on the outside. It seems to be working for Nisky. They've been finding the outside holes and really making some big yards. So it was good for Din and Steen to be able to take him down before the end zone.
Nisky now spreading the field, 3rd and 5. Under 10 minutes to go in tonight's ball game. Nisky can smell the end zone. Let's see if they can get in. Edmonds with Meissner to his right. 2 receivers right, 1 receiver left. Stewart in motion, the handoff to Meissner, and he is stopped right at the line. Patrick Winslow the first to him. And Meissner stuffed.
It was a very nice play by Patrick Winslow right up the middle. Made a big tackle right before the goal line, as mentioned. And it is now 4th and 4, so a difficult situation for Nisky. With this situation, they'd probably go for it, or they may never see a touchdown this game.
So let's see what Nisky decides to do here. Looks like they're going to go for the touchdown.
Gillen's got to make a real big play here in order to keep Nisky scoreless.
And Dutchman flinch again. Snap count is just killing the Dutchman defense. And that'll be half the distance to the goal. May just be enough for a first down, and that it is. Dutchman front 4 caught off guard all night by the snap count. Edmonds doing a great job drawing the defense, getting those free yards.
We've praised Gillen all night about their defense, their offense, but it is the penalties that kill them. Their false starts, the passers interference, definitely something to work on in next week's game.
So Edmonds with Meissner behind him. Fake handoff to Meissner, runs right. Down inside the 1 and touchdown. So Nisky erases the 0 off the board with 7:38 left to go here in the final quarter.
That was a really nice fake handoff, as we see right here. Found a big gap right in the defense, and that touchdown was just waiting for him. Nisky unit now has 6 points on the board.
So Nisky looking like they will kick the point after. Mike Viola doing the kicking duties. The kick is up, and it is good. So a touchdown run by Daylon Edmonds in the point after by Mike Viola give Nisky their first points of the evening. And with 7:38 left to go, Dutchmen now lead 50-7.
You definitely wonder. Gillen has a 43-point lead. It's just gigantic. Niskayuna is starting to get some momentum. What do you think that Gillen should do with their offense when they have such a big lead?
I brought this point up earlier. I was wondering, you get this late in the game, really both offensive opportunities, passing and running, have done a great job all evening. Do you go to the run because you just run the clock down, but also you don't want to go too easy, but you don't want to go hard on Nisky. This is obviously a win in the Dutchman victory column, so I think the Dutchman will have to run the ball here. Let's see if they give the ball to Tyler Hess, Joe Park, maybe Mikey Breton, and Stefan Brantley, Carl C. Ibanez, the running backs on this year's Dutchman roster.
And we are waiting the kickoff. I think we do want to mention Carl Z. Ibanez. This is his first year as well, stuck down at JV last year, and now he's up for his first year. I'd say in general, if you were with them, what would your advice be for the first year players on varsity?
Just try to garner as much experience as you possibly can. A lot of these guys will be playing bigger roles next season, as a lot of these Impact Dutchman players will graduate, so the more experience you get, the better. As Idris Stewart will kick off. And fumbled by the Dutchman, as Brandon Indovina just tried to catch it, but bounced right off of him, and I believe the Dutchman fell on it. Mike Breton falling on the ball, and the Dutchman will take over.
Definitely a very close call. Absolutely unacceptable for someone to drop the ball. Thank goodness for Mikey Breton. Saved them from making a turnover, and now Gillen's just got to refocus and focus on the offensive plays.
So Mason Lito getting his first action at quarterback here. Stefan Brantley in the backfield. Going in motion and getting the handoff was Brendan Hoffman. Good run there for about 7.
Brandon Hoffman, also his first year as well. And he's done a really good job. He is very, very quick, very similar to the speed of Steve Fedorchak, who we've seen make some pretty impressive plays. So it's really nice to see him here in this fourth quarter.
More penalty flags flying. Looked like the Dutchman jumped early. That indeed is the call. False start on the Dutchman.
I'm kind of curious to see what Coach Penn is thinking, especially penalties. Do you praise the offense, or do you really harp on the penalties? I have no idea.
I think you have to harp on the penalties. These can't be happening if you want to win games. Obviously, this game is a different story with it being Niskayuna in their first game in Class AA in a while. Lito faking the handoff, running over a defender there. Stopped after a run of about 4. But if you want to win games from now on, you can't allow these penalties to happen. Obviously, the offense all around has done its job tonight, but to win ball games consistently in Section 2, penalties, this amount of penalties won't do it.
I definitely agree with you. It has been a struggle. I did want to mention Mason Lito getting his first snaps here today. as you mentioned, backup quarterback to Marianopolis, and he's looking really good.
Hoffman taking the handoff again, this time going right to left, cutting back and getting near the 50 before Alex Singsheim brings him down. First down for the Dutchman.
I did want to mention Mason Lito one more time. It was really nice to see him rush the ball. It is a big lead, so it's good for him to take some risks. But it's kind of nice. He reminds me of Andrew Sentz, a guy who could pass and run the ball very well. So he could be big after Marianopolis graduates.
We'll have to see what Penna does when the time comes, as Stephon Brantley has taken off and apparently scored. And the Dutchman lead extends here as Nisky players just started running on the field. Not sure if they were just confused, but Brantley took the handoff. No one seemed like they were ready. About 8 guys on the left side, and Brantley just took off and had a touchdown.
Definitely a really crazy play. I mean, huge gaps in the Nisky unit defense. And then you have Stephon Brantley. He almost tripped coming out, and even after the trip, he continued to go for over 50 yards and gave Gildan another touchdown.
So Clark on for the PAT. His kick is up, and it is good. 57-7 with 5:20 left. Stephon Brantley, someone we saw a lot of last year on both sides of the ball, running back and defensive end. Seemed to may have lose his defensive end spot, but possibly gaining it back as the Dutchman look to stick with a 4-3 defense. But he is an important factor this Dutchman team has, as he can make plays on both sides of the ball, and using his size at 6 feet, 200 pounds, could be a force blocking-wise too for the Dutchman.
We talk about so much how these guys produce on the field, but it's also about off the field. As you mentioned before, Coach Penna bringing his team with all the training programs and also in the gym. These guys work hard, long hours trying to perfect their game, and it's showing. Stephon Brantley, who's worked his butt off ever since last year trying to get a big spot on the Gildan varsity team, and he's showing it already this first game, and I can't wait to see what he could do the rest of the season.
So the kickoff here coming up from Matt Clark. Dutchman, big lead here late in tonight's ballgame, as Clark will kick it off. And Nisky going straight up the middle, but a huge hit there. As Evan Gallup just flew in to bring down the kick returner. I believe that was Ismail Stewart. Stopped at the 42-yard line.
I agree. I mean, huge save by Gallup. I mean, we've mentioned his speed and his toughness, and that's just another example. Really great job by Evan Gallup.
Evan Gallup, a fan favorite from the Red Sea. Heard his name being chanted plenty of times tonight for good reason. He's been probably the best player the Dutchman have had this evening.
I definitely agree, and also in a pretty big Royal football family. You got Connor Gallup, who came through here, and a lot of family has just worn Dutchman jerseys throughout the years, so he's part of something really special.
Evan Gallup continuing the football family tradition, as the run there from Reggie Melvin stopped at the line of scrimmage. Game reaching its final minutes as we go under 4.5 left to go.
Looks like Niskayuna stuck at 2nd and 11. As we mentioned before, definitely tough to get past the defensive line. So Niskayuna's got to really put some plays together, which could be the final drive of the game.
Reggie Melvin standing right beside Daylon Edwards, and Edwards running after a bad snap and gets stopped away in the backfield by a swarm of Dutchman jerseys. Reggie Miller in a important piece to this Nisky offense. As we see the bad snap here, talking a little bit about Reggie Miller, who is a junior 6', 195 running back linebacker. One of the better players on this Silver Warrior team, offense and defensively.
It must be really frustrating for Nisky. I mean, that snap was just bad. I mean, even for the quarterback, he's trying to do his job, and with the bad snap, things just pile up for Nisky as it turns to 3rd and 16.
So Edwards in the shotgun once again. Looking to throw this time. He will throw right and straight through the hands once again of Ismail Stewart. Showing some frustration there, probably building up from this big deficit late in the game, as even though the incompletion would normally stop the clock continues to run with the big lead here in the 4th quarter.
That was one of the best passes that I've seen from Nisky all game. That was about 20 to 30 yards wide open and went right through his hands. Frustrating for both the wide receiver and the quarterback.
Whistles blowing the play dead. And it will be false start against the Silver Warriors. Clock stops here at 2:22.
Nisky backed up to 3rd and 21. They are really going to make a Hail Mary pass if they're trying to get some yardage here.
So 2 minutes and 22 seconds, 4th and 21, as they will look to punt it. Back deep, calling the fair catch is Brendan Hoffman, and he will catch it at the 43-yard line as the clock runs here. I assume Mason Lita will just come on and most likely take a knee or hand it off, as we are inside the final 2 minutes.
I mean, this is great for Lido. I mean, you're talking about Marianopolis. He's probably going to get practically all the snaps this season, so it's nice that he's able to get some experience, especially in this first game of the season. It's early on. He could get some more later on as well.
2 left, 2 right for Lido. Steen in the backfield, and once again, the flags fly. And once again, it's offside on, or false start on the Dutchman.
Penalties have been just piling up. I mean, for both teams, you're talking Gilderland, who had its 2nd false start this quarter, and at least 2 in the 3rd. So this is pretty problematic. Even with this gigantic lead, it's definitely something to focus on.
Inexperience seeping through, as the handoff there to number 23, Carl C. Ibanez, going left to right as we go inside a minute.
It's good to see Ibanez playing. He doesn't get many opportunities, especially with Stephon Brantley, who's a big part, as we mentioned, as a running back this year. So it's going to be tough for Ibanez to get snaps similar to Lido with Marianopolis. So it's good to see that he's getting some time here in this game.
Lido hands it off to Steen. Steen running left. Some space to run, and he is brought down near the 40-yard line as we go inside the final 30 seconds. Jason, what are your thoughts about tonight's game? Obviously a very dominating Dutchman victory.
It's hard to explain anything but that. You're talking a 50-point lead, but you can say that Gilderland offensively and defensively were just amazing over the top. It's just the penalties. That's probably the only thing that I would focus on, and that'll prepare them for tougher competition, and especially for Nisky, who, as you mentioned, had their first AA game in a very long time.
So the final 4 seconds being counted down by the Red Sea, and the Dutchmen officially 1-0 on the year. A 57-7 victory. A great job by the Dutchmen all around, offense, defense, special teams. doing it all as the Dutchmen take the big 57-7 victory. As the Dutchmen take their 1-0 record as they visit Saratoga Springs High School next week, a big early conference matchup for both teams as they look to have some big success this season. So, with this being a final 57-7 from Gilderland High School, we sign off. For Jason Sindoni, all of the media staff here at Gilderland High School, I am Jason Pulaski, and we say goodnight.